WBAU Garden City.
Good morning, I'm Mike Cassano, and here's the news.
Wait a second, hold on, Mike.
But Carrie, I've got to practice. I've returned to do the news on the Wednesday morning wake-up call.
Hey, that's great. Now the WBAU morning show has even more to offer. Me, Carrie Briner, playing the kind of music you can wake up with.
And me, Mike Cassano, back at the news desk, keeping folks informed.
The best way to start your day is the Wednesday morning wake-up call, 7 to 9 a.m.
On 90.3 FM WBAU. It's better than ever.
90.3 FM with your host, Lisa Ehrenberg. For the woman who thought she had everything, now there's more. Women Speak. Informative, enlightening. Women Speak. Controversial and up-to-date. Women Speak. For women and men who want more. Serious discussions on serious issues. Want to discover what today's woman is thinking about? Listen to Women Speak. Every Friday evening at 6:30 on 90.3 FM WBAU.
Swing and a miss, strike three, and the side is retired. After 7 innings at Shea Stadium, it's the Pets 5 and the visitors nothing. Well, Steve Headley Lamar, it's a special night here at Shea.
That's right, Bob. Tonight is a special night here at the ballpark. It's Dick night here at the Shea. All people with the first name Richard got into the park for only the 50-cent service charge, tacked on to the $6 parking fee.
That's right, Steve, and the stadium is jammed. I've never seen such a big crowd of Dicks in my life.
That's right, Bob. There are Dicks all over the place. In fact, there are so many Dicks, the players had to reserve sections behind the dugouts ahead of time so that they can invite all the Dicks they personally know.
That's right, Steve, and I believe there are even Dicks on both clubs as well.
That's right, Bob. There's Dick Jones, Dick Slater, Dick Scheuer, Dick Hertz. Both clubs have their own share of Dicks, only they didn't have to pay the 50-cent service charge to get into Shea.
That's right, Steve.
Baseball, Tommy was terrific, amazing baseball. Clendenin was prolific.
I'm going to slow you down a bit here. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom.
Good evening and welcome to Briner's Corner. Briner's Corner is brought to you by Bullet Acid Shave. Bullet, one shave and you'll be lucky to keep your face. Welcome to Briner's Corner. I'm Carrie Briner, and tonight on our show in honor of Dick Night here at Shea, we have brought on 3 of the biggest Dicks in the world. Dick Nixon, Dick Dreyfuss, and Dick Young. Well, you fellow Dicks, how did you feel about Dick Night here at Shea?
Well, Carrie, as a former presidential Dick, as a former president named Dick, I thought the night was great. Personally, I never thought there were these many Dicks in this area alone. Speaking for my Dick counterparts here, I just wonder if the world would be a lot more happier if we were just all Dicks.
Yeah.
Come on, get your rock star.
Let's Make Love, John Glimmer on 90.3 WBAU. Let's figure out what else we heard. We heard Till Tomorrow by Marvin Gaye, and we started it off by Something new that I like by Simple Mind, Promise Me a Miracle. Listen up, Operations Crossroad Africa, an organization focusing on international development and cultural exchange, needs people for its summers projects in Africa. If you want to join in on the fun and adventure, call 212-242-8550. That's 212-242-8550. Once again, that's 242-8550. That's a 212 area code. That, my friend, coming from the WBAU Community Bulletin. Looking at 16 in front of the hour of 11 o'clock on deck right now. Sports Diary, we're going to take a 15-minute break. I'll be back at about 3 minutes after the hour of 11 o'clock with so much more music. So you keep it in tune to 90.3 WBAU. Be right back. Take it away, Doug.
This is Ray Hellerton. Please join me for an hour of riotous living on the Ray Hellerton Breakfast Club. Sundays from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 90.3 FM WBAU. Each week we feature guests that will entertain you as well as inform you. That's the Ray Hellerton Breakfast Club, Sundays at 8, right here on 90.3 FM WBAU at Delphi University's radio station. Thank you.
Hi, kids. This is your old pal, Soupy Sills. Now, turn on your mommy and daddy's radio and tune it to 90.3 FM. That's WBAU in Garden City, the Long Island sound of who knows what. Just tell them Soupy sent you.
Tapping in on some of the most exciting college sporting events, we are WBAU. This is Doug Miles, Sports Director, and this year promises to be one of the best for island-wide collegiate athletics. WBAU will bring you basketball, baseball, soccer, and more. On top of all of this, we give you a chance to get involved and talk sports with us. Fridays at 6:30 p.m., WBAU presents Sport Talk, the call-in show designed with you, the listener, in mind. Sports and you, the perfect combo on 90.3 WBAU, Long Island sound of sport.
Delphi Sports and WBAU, a winning combination. Each fall, Panthers soccer takes root at Stiles Field. WBAU is there, covering every volley, trap, and goal, as Bob Montgomery's Division I squad takes on the nation's best. The Monarch volleys, the shot, goal! Panther men's basketball action dominates Woodruff Hall during the winter months, as Jim Flanagan's team battles for the playoffs. Donovan, one bounce inside the power, turnaround, jump shot, and gets it! Spring brings double the excitement as Ron Davies Baseball Club, perennial Division II powerhouses, gun for another Knickerbocker championship. Finally, Paul Doherty's lacrosse team challenges for the national championship. I better go intercept this pass, better go in front, for the best in college sports, there's only one place to set your dial. That's 90.3 FM, WBAU, the home of Adelphi Panther sports.
That's the Giants, and WBAU's Jeffrey Payne tells us all about today's big victory in Philly.
The New York Giants are headed for San Francisco after their 27-21 upset victory over the Eagles in Philadelphia in the NFC Wild Card game. The Giants jumped out to a 20-0 first quarter lead before the Eagles had a chance to blink. The Giants capitalized on Eagle turnovers. First, Wally Henry couldn't find the handle on a Dave Jennings punt. Lawrence Taylor recovering the fumble. Quarterback Scott Bruner got the Giants on the scoreboard with a 9-yard scoring flank to Leon Brett. The Giants couldn't convert the extra point, but on their next possession, Bruner drove the Giants the rest of the field, completing the march with a 10-yard touchdown pass to John Mitzler. On the ensuing kickoff, the Eagles' Henry fumbled again, and Mark Haynes picked up the loose football in the end zone for a 20-0 Giant lead. After Giant killer Herman Edwards picked off a Bruner pass and returned the football to the Giants' 26, Eagles quarterback Ron Jaworski hit Harold Carmichael between the safeties with a 15-yard touchdown strike, and the Eagles were right back in the ball game. But the Giants struck back quickly. Bruner firing his third touchdown pass on the day, this one to Tom Moody, and that sent the Giants to the locker room with a 27-7 halftime lead. The Eagles got a touchdown in the third quarter on a 5-yard Wilbert Montgomery run. Joe Danello missed a fourth quarter 32-yard field goal, which would have driven the Eagles to extinction. But the revived Eagles then drove 80 yards, 44 coming on 3 Giant penalties. Montgomery closing the gap to 27-21 with a 1-yard touchdown run. The Giants then ran out the clock, with Rob Carpenter getting the call on every play, picking up 2 clutch first downs in the final minute, and finishing the day with 161 yards on 33 carries. He was the Giant difference, as the Giants knocked off the Eagles, the defending NFC champs, 27-21. Giants, who've won 5 of their last 6, their only loss coming at the hands of San Francisco, will meet those same 49ers next Sunday. For Sports Diary, I'm Jeffrey Payne.
Well, Gracie, any news from home?
Yes, I got a letter from my little niece Jean.
What did she say?
She didn't say anything. She didn't phone. It was a letter, and she wrote it.
I mean, what did she write?
It's summer again, and my family's putting on a backyard circus, just like we did when I was a kid.
Every summer, you kids used to put on your own circus.
Yes. Of course, admission was free, but that was only for people who could afford it.
Well, that's because we're living in a democracy.
Oh, yes. Isn't it nice? Anyway, my cousin Barney was the sword swallower, and what a performance he put on. The kids would cheer when he put a sword 4 feet long down his throat.
Could Barney really swallow a sword?
Oh, George, don't be silly. It was a trick. You know the scabbard that the sword fits into?
Yeah.
Well, before the show, he would stick that down his throat.
I see.
Then when he slipped the sword into it, everybody thought he was swallowing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a shame to fool the public like that.
But the admission was free.
Oh, I forgot.
And Uncle Otis was the strong man. He'd come out in a leopard skin and put big nails in his mouth and twist them between his teeth until they'd bend.
That's quite a trick.
Yes, but he looked pretty ridiculous walking around with all those bent teeth.
Well, they'd come in handy if you ever happen to get a crooked ear of corn.
Oh, you live and learn. And Aunt Gertrude was the snake charmer.
Aunt Gertrude, the one who's so nearsighted?
Yes. She had a little snake, and she was supposed to put it in a basket and then blow on a flute until the snake stuck its head up. And what do you suppose happened on Saturday afternoon?
She put the flute in the basket and blew in the snake.
Wasn't that awful?
That must have upset her.
Oh, George, it wasn't a real snake. It was just a few worms tied together.
Well, that's better. Who else was in the sideshow?
One of the big hits was Uncle Harvey and Aunt Clara.
What was their act?
Half man, half woman.
Did you have 2 halves left over?
Oh, no, they both got into one costume.
Oh, now I get the picture.
George, it wasn't a picture. They did it in person.
What was your part in the circus?
I was the lion tamer.
You were the lion tamer.
Of course, I just used our house cat. For 2 weeks before the circus, I taught her all kinds of tricks. To sit on a pedestal, to roll over, to play dead.
Sounds like a pretty smart cat.
Oh, yes, but when she got in front of the audience, she forgot all her tricks and just had kittens.
That must have caused a sensation.
Oh, it did, but what good was it? The silly cat wouldn't do it again for the second performance.
Say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.
Long Island to bring you the constant variety of sports. That's WBAU. This is Jim McKay suggesting you stay with us on 90.3 FM.
That's just great music, isn't it? Swing music, the sounds of the 40s. This is Doug Miles, and I promise a swingy evening when we get together Thursdays from 8 to 10 right here on WBAU 90.3 FM. Tommy Dorsey, Harry James, and the chairman of the board, Frank Sinatra, just some of those who helped to shape an era and are heard right here on the Long Island Sound of Swing. That's Thursdays, 8 to 10 p.m. on 90.3 FM, WBAU.
You are listening to a sports exclusive over 90.3 FM, WBAU Garden City, Long Island's best sports.
Hi, I'm Doug Miles, Sports Director. Good afternoon and welcome to Long Island's Informative Alternative. Tonight from 5 until 6, WBAU presents The Sound of Poetry. And at 6, WBAU brings you the latest in local, state, and national information on the 6 o'clock evening report. At 6:30, we present Healthline with Tim Smith. And at 7, we round things out with the sounds of the 50s with Bill Doherty. Stay tuned to Adelphi University's FM 90.3 WBAU.
WBAU's chief sports analyst, John Andrews, has his own thoughts about today's Jets and Giants wild card games, and John thinks both teams have learned a lot by both winning and losing today.
For the New York Jets, today was a day of slipping and sliding, a day of falling behind, catching up, and almost pulling off a fantastic finish. For the Giants, today was an offensive display, the Giants scoring more points in the first quarter than they did in half of their games, and hanging on. And for both clubs, today meant hope for the future, for the Jets next year, and for the Giants next weekend against the San Francisco 49ers. In their AFC wildcard game today, the Jets were schizophrenic against the Buffalo Bills. For a while, They look like the team that lost to the Bills 31-0 back on opening day 16 weeks ago. But then they turned into the Jets that went 10-2-1 over the last 13 games of the year. A staggering fourth-quarter deficit set the stage for 10 of the most exciting minutes in New York Jet history. Richard Todd with a spotty but strong passing game. Greg Buttle with 2 key interceptions that set up the first 2 Jet scores. Mickey Schuler, the little-used tight end who scored his first touchdown all year. They were heroes all, and they came up only 1 pass short of meeting the Cincinnati Bengals next weekend. Meanwhile, in the NFC wildcard match, the Giants jumped all over the Philadelphia Eagles, another schizophrenic team. The Giants, riding a 3-game winning streak against the Eagles, losers of their last 5. The teams split their 2 regular season games, as had the Jets and the Bills, but this time the Giants hung on to their lead, and they won in much the same way that the Jets lost. They'll be meeting the 49ers next Sunday in San Francisco. So what does this mean to the teams? Well, by virtue of the Jets' 10-5-1 record, they won't get a chance to grab any of the obvious standouts in this year's college draft. That's okay, though, because the Jets have no glaring deficiencies at any one position. Any rookies they might pick up next year will only add to a young, strong, and promising team. Wait till next year, Jets. I'm sure we'll see them there in the playoffs again. They're a team with youth, a team with enthusiasm, and above all, a team with heart. As for the Giants, they've got perhaps their most important game in 18 years coming up against the team that sports the best record in football. The 49ers beat the Giants 17-10 just before the Giants' final surge that lifted them into the playoffs. My official predictions for next weekend, Miami over San Diego by a touchdown. Cincinnati over Buffalo, they beat them by 3 earlier in the year. Dallas is going to roll over Tampa Bay, look for a rout there. And finally, sorry Giant fans, San Francisco will edge the Giants just as they did earlier this year. For WBAU Sports, I'm John Andrews.
On Saturday, February 12th, 2 local basketball rivals will shoot it out in Woodruff Hall. The Adelphi Lady Panthers host the Flying Dutchwomen of Hofstra University in a contest which promises plenty of action. Owns a one-hand pass down court to Papewell alone, lays it up and in. Join us at 6 p.m. on Saturday, February 12th, as we bring you same-day coverage of this classic confrontation. It's another sports exclusive heard only on 90.3 FM, WBAU, the home of Adelphi Panther Sports.
This is Marty Wilson of WHLI and WEVD. You know, I've been doing jazz programs for a lot of years, and for the best sounds of jazz fusion, listen to Jim Doig, the host of Jazz Fusion, for a Tuesday evening right here on Long Island's FM alternative, WBAU Garden City.
Every Thursday night from 8 to 10, we'll put you in the mood for the swingin'est music in town. Hi, Doug Miles here, your host each Thursday for 2 hours of the sweetest sound you'll ever hear. We go back to an era when the orchestras of the Dorsey Brothers, Glenn Miller, and the King of Swing, Benny Goodman, were at the top of the charts. You'll also be regaled by some of the great vocalists of the past and present, Ella Fitzgerald, Mel Torme, and Frank Sinatra, just to name a few. Join me for the Big Band Sound Thursday nights at 8 right here on 90.3 FM, WBAU, the Long Island sound of swing.